Welcome back, dear students. Welcome to the chapter. The title of the chapter is Classification of Elements and Periodicity in Properties. This chapter is a recapitulation and also it will add some more thing to your knowledge of class 10, which you already know about the classification of elements. That why do we need to classify elements, how the classification begin, what was the genesis of the periodic classification, how in different eras different scientists came up with the idea of classifying the different elements which are present in the periodic table. We are going to learn in this chapter. So here we'll be doing a recapitulation of our class 10, and also I'll be telling you some new things. So let's begin the chapter. So why do we need to classify the elements? The classification of element, why do we need to classify them? Let us begin it. So just let's recall and revise. We know by now that elements, they are the basic units of matter, and when the classification of element begin, there were only 63 elements known, and at present we have around 119 elements known to us. Of them, the recently discovered elements, they are the man-made elements, and were many efforts to synthesize new elements. Efforts to synthesize new elements till today they are being continued. Means the efforts to synthesize new elements are continuous process. वो कर ही रहे हैं लोग अभी तक भी. So with such a large number of elements, it was very difficult to study individually the chemistry of each of them. मतलब इतने ज़्यादा elements हो गए थे that it was very difficult to study the means study the chemistry of each of these element and their innumerable compounds individually. मतलब इतने सारे elements थे तो हर elements अलग अलग compounds बना रहे थे. So as the number of elements increases, the number of compounds also increased for them. So to make this easy, to ease out this problem, the scientists searched for a scientific systematic way to organize their knowledge by classifying the elements. Not only that, it also rationalized many chemical facts about the element, but it also predicts that some new ones, that some new chemical reactions can be predicted by the classification. So how the classification begin? What was the first type of classification? Now I'm going to introduce you to all of them. So the classification of elements into groups and periods, that was the development of the periodic law and the periodic table. They were the consequences of systemizing the knowledge which was gained by a number of scientists through their observation and experiments. Means directly the periodic table was not directly the periodic table did not come into the picture. Many scientists, they did the earlier classification, then finally we came to the periodic classification. Then what was the first method of classification? The first method of classification was done by Dobreiner. The full name was Johann Dobreiner. He was a German scientist, and in the early 1800s, means in the last this means 1801 to 1810, means in the early 1800s, he was the first to consider the idea of trends among the properties of elements. And by around some mid 1800, like 1830 or 1840, he noted that there is a similarity between the physical and the chemical properties of different groups of three elements. Different groups of three elements in this way. And he named these groups of three elements as triads. Then in each cases, he noticed that the middle element of each of the triad had an atomic weight about halfway between the atomic weights of the other two. It means that the two elements which he has considered in each of his triads, you see, he has considered three elements in each of the triads. Here you see, one is lithium, one is potassium, and one is sodium. Then what he observed was that the atomic weight, the middle element atomic weight, was almost the halfway between the atomic weights of the other two. Also, the properties of the middle element, they were in between those of the other two members. Means the chemical property of sodium, it was observed that it was somewhat in between of lithium and potassium. Means more than lithium but less than potassium, it was observed by him. So since Dobrynin's relationship is referred to as law of triads, it seemed to work for only a few elements, and it was dismissed later. Now what was the reason it was dismissed? The reason was that it was only valid for a certain number of elements, and it did not explain much things about. It was just giving a means rough picture that yes, some relationship is there between these elements, but what was that relationship, this was not clearly reported by Dobrynin. So it was dismissed as coincidence. So the next reported attempt to classify the element, it was made by a geologist, the name I think you have not heard before. It was AEB Chancortius. The name was Chancortius. He arranged the known elements at that time in order of increasing atomic weights, and he made a cylindrical table of the element to display the periodic recurrence of properties. This also did not attract much attention, so it was also discarded. So next came the English chemist from England, John Alexander Newlands. Then he propounded the law of octaves, and that is known as your Newlands law of octaves. What did he see that? He arranged the elements in increasing order of their atomic weights and noted that every eighth element had the properties which was similar to the first element. Now, this relationship was just like every eighth note of the music. Every eighth note of music. So, Newland's law of octaves, it came into being where he observed that every first element behaved like the eighth element in this case. Means just as here you can see sa, then mi, then again sa used to come like sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, then again the eighth one is sa. So similarly here what he observed that every eighth element behaved as the first element, so he arranged it in this way. But this also did not attract much attention. The reason was that he this was at that time only 52 elements were known, and he said that work this worked only up to calcium, and his this law that every eighth element will behave as the first element, this was limited only up to the element calcium. Another one was that it he was unable to explain that why he put cobalt and nickel together in this single group. He was unable to explain. Everywhere single elements were present, but he was unable to explain that why did he use cobalt and nickel together here. In the first group, you can see that he has kept cobalt and nickel together, this one. And he was unable to explain this, that why cobalt and nickel he kept together. He was unable to explain this fact. Another was, he said that only 52 elements will exist and no more elements will be ever discovered. So these three were the basic drawbacks of your Newland's law of octaves, and that was the reason why it was discarded. Why discarded? So the reason was that it was only valid up to calcium. The second reason was that he was unable to explain that why he kept two elements together. And the third reason was that he said that only 52 elements will exist, but later on it was found that more elements came into the picture. So for this work, he was also awarded as Davy Medal Award by the Royal Society of London. So he was convicted. Now came the periodic law of the most important person, and he was known as Dmitry Ivanovich Mendeleev, who formed the periodic table. He also gave a law, and this table, it was not made alone by Mendeleev, but normally Mendeleev is given the credit. Here, Dmitry Mendeleev and German chemist Lothar Meyer, they were working independently, and they were working at the same time, and they proposed that on arranging the element in increasing order of their atomic weights, similarities appear in the physical and the chemical properties at regular intervals. Lothar Meyer plotted the physical properties such as atomic mass, volume, melting point, and boiling point against the atomic weight, and he obtained a periodically repeated pattern. And unlike Newlands, Lothar Meyer observed a change in the length of that repeating pattern. Then he developed a table by at the end towards the end of 1800th century, that he developed a table, and from there he said that the properties of element, means this was a statement which was given by togetherly by Lothar Meyer and Mendeleev, but only Mendeleev is considered. Why? Because Mendeleev did it in a systematic manner. He studied both the physical properties and the chemical properties of the element, and from there he formed his table. There he formulated that the properties of the element are a periodic function of their atomic weight. This was said by Mendeleev. Then Mendeleev arranged the elements in horizontal rows and vertical columns of a table in order of their increasing atomic weight in such a way that elements with the similar properties, they occupied the same vertical column or groups. That is what I have written here. He arranged the elements in a horizontal rows and vertical columns of a table in increasing atomic weights in the order of increasing atomic weight. Now, he also recognized that the significance of periodicity and used broader range of physical and chemical properties to classify the elements. In general, or in particular, if you are going to say, Mendeleev relied on the similarities in the formulas and properties of the compounds formed by the elements. Means he also considered that if an element is reacting, suppose we know that water when oxygen when reacts with hydrogen it forms H2. Similarly, when sulfur it reacts with water it forms H2S. So he saw this pattern also, that what was the pattern of the compounds formed by the elements, and depending on this also he arranged them. He ignored the order of atomic weights, thinking that the atomic measurement might be incorrect. Means he not only gave importance to the atomic weight, means वो जब arrange कर रहा था अपने elements, then he not only considered the atomic weight, he also checked this one, that whether this is being checked or not. Means he saw that the compounds formed by these elements are of the same type, same order or not. He not only gave the importance to the atomic weight, thinking that atomic measurement might be incorrect, and place the elements with similar properties together. मतलब atomic weight को इतना ध्यान नहीं दिया, बल्कि he gave importance to that part, or to that properties where he came to know that the compounds formed by those elements were similar. Then, for example, iodine has an atomic weight lower than that of tellurium, but he placed it in group number 7 with fluorine, chlorine, bromine. Why? Because you see, fluorine, chlorine, and bromine. See, fluorine, chlorine, and bromine, like fluorine, chlorine, and bromine, they have similar physical properties. But tellurium, tellurium has atomic weight. It has an atomic weight which is higher than that of iodine. But what did he do? He placed iodine next to tellurium. मतलब tellurium के बाद रखा उसने iodine को. क्यों? Because he considered the properties of the reactant, matlab what type of compound were formed by them. At the same time, keeping the primary aim of arranging the elements of similar property in the same group, he proposed that some of the elements were still undiscovered, and therefore he left several gaps in the table. He left several gaps in his table, and those there were also certain elements like at that time, means gallium and germanium, they were unknown. Means when Mendeleev developed his periodic table, at that time gallium and germanium, they were unknown. It was later described, and he left the gap under aluminium and gap under silicon, and these elements were at that time known as eka aluminium and eka silicon. Mendeleev predicted not only the existence of gallium and germanium but also described some of their general physical properties. These elements were described later. मतलब मेंडलीव ने जब अपना पीरियडिक टेबल डिजाइन किया था, उस समय पर जर्मेनियम और गैलियम, ये दोनों चीजें नहीं पाई गई थी. दे वेर नॉट डिस्कवर्ड एट दैट टाइम, they were discovered later. But what he did is in his periodic table was that he left some spaces for these elements, and he moved on. He moved on. Then the boldness of Mendeleev's quantitative prediction and their eventual success made him and his periodic table famous. Mendeleev's periodic table that was published, that was published was this one. This is Mendeleev's periodic table which was published earlier. This was the Mendeleev's periodic table, where you can see that he has left some gaps, where he has left some gaps, and those gaps were filled later. You see here he has left a gap, and these gaps were filled later on. These gaps were filled later. Okay, so from this you see here, you can see this one. This is 127 and this is 126. Normally what will happen, this iodine should come first because he was arranging them in increasing order of their atomic weight. But what he did was that tellurium he kept first and iodine he kept second, because the chemical properties of fluorine, bromine, and iodine, they were similar. Okay, so this was your Mendeleev's periodic table. Then next came your modern periodic table, which was given by Henry Moseley. Henry Moseley, he did many, मतलब उसने बहुत सारे पापड़ बेले इसको. Directly he was unable to do this, and we will come to know about all this in chapter number 2. Now you see, Mendeleev left gaps under silicon and aluminum, and those were known as eka aluminium and eka silicon. Later, it was discovered that Eka aluminium had properties similar to gallium and Eka silicon had properties similar to germanium. Now, according to the modern periodic law, the physical and the chemical properties of the elements are periodic function of their atomic numbers. And in case of your Mendeleev's periodic law, this number was replaced by mass. That is the only difference between the modern periodic law and the Mendeleev's periodic law. The next feature say that modern form of the periodic table was discovered by Henry Moseley and hence it was also called Moseley's periodic table. But normally हम इसे modern periodic table ही कहते हैं because Moseley का नाम इतना नहीं आता because Moseley did not do anything. He did not do anything. What he did was that he just whatever was arranged by Mendeleev, he just gave them numbers. You have already studied in your class 10. The periodic law revealed important analogies among the 94 naturally occurring elements from neptunium and plutonium, like actinium and protactinium, are also found in bleach blend and ore of uranium. Only 94 elements are naturally occurring. The rest of them they are either man-made or कुछ अलग तरीके से उनको निकाला जाता है. Okay. Now, in the modern periodic table or in the periodic table, the horizontal rows of the periodic table are called periods, while the vertical columns are called groups. Now, I'll be showing you the modern periodic table, how it looks and what are the different classification of the periodic table. The periodic table is also classified, and after the classification of the periodic table, what were common in them, what is the general feature of them, I'll be showing it to you now. See this, he was Mendeleev, and this is the classification of, this is the Mendeleev's periodic table, and now comes the modern periodic table, and here it goes. This is your modern periodic table. Now this periodic table, it explains many things. Many thing means many properties, many thing are there. Each color signifies any, means different things. Each color is responsible for different thing. Each element has different property. There everything they classified this one, and they have placed in a group in a periods. And now what are groups and what are periods? The very first thing in the periodic table, the very first thing in the periodic table, what are periods and what are groups? Let's see. The periodic table is divided into four blocks, mainly the S block, the P block, the D block, and the F block. Now, at this point of time, you just remember that the periodic table is divided into four blocks: the S block, P block, D block, and F block. You will be coming to know that what is this S, what is this P, what is this D, and what is this F when we will do chapter number 2. So I said that we have to know that what are groups and what are periods. I think that you already know this one. Here the vertical columns, the vertical series, this one, this vertical one, that is known as your groups. So in total, the periodic table has 8 groups, you see. 1, 2, 3, not 8, sorry, 18. 1, 2, this is the second one. This is the first, second, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. In total, there are 18 groups. So, this vertical columns, they are known as your groups, and the horizontal column, this one, the horizontal one, they are known as your periods. This is already known to you from your basic level. So here, how many periods are there? First period, second period, third period, fourth period, fifth period, sixth period, and seventh period. There are 7 periods in total. Now, the classification of this periodic table, how it is done. ओ भाई आज मेरे ही ले लो दुआ भगवान. The periodic table is divided into four blocks: the S block, P block, T block, and F block. Now we'll be looking into these blocks one by one. First of all, we have the S block elements. Now, what are the S block element? Now, what I said that at this point of time, you just remember that they are divided into four categories. Now, what are those S block elements? You see, the elements of the group 1 and group 2. The group 1 elements are known as the alkali metals, and the elements of the group 2 are known as the alkaline earth metals. Now, these two metals, they are called as the S block elements. The elements of group 1 and group 2, they have NS1 and NS2 outermost electronic configuration. Now this is quite new to you, it is a quite an alien term to you, like NS1 and NS2, what are these? So at this moment you just remember that the elements of group 1 and the elements of group 2, the alkaline earth metal, which have NS1 and NS2 outermost electronic configuration, they belong to the S block element. Next, they have the properties. These are their properties. What are the properties? You see, they are all reactive metals with low ionization enthalpies. Now, what is this ionization enthalpy? We'll know in the subsequent video. Means we'll move forward, you'll come to know what is ionization enthalpy. They lose the outermost electron to form +1 ion, and in case of alkali metal, they form +1 or +2 ion in the case of alkaline earth metal. That is known to you, like sodium, it exists as Na positive, magnesium it exists as Mg positive, calcium as Ca2 positive, magnesium as 2 positive, means they have the di-positive charges and single positive charge. Another one, the metallic character and the reactivity increases as we go down the group. Now these are the trends. Now what are these trends? This trend shows that as the periodic table goes below, means as the periodic table goes below, you see, as the periodic table goes below, means as we are moving from top to bottom, as we are moving from top to bottom, the as we are moving from top to bottom, the metallic character and the reactivity increases. Means hydrogen, then you have sodium here, means as you are going below, the reactivity is increasing and also the metallic character increases. Because of high reactivity, they are never found pure in nature. मतलब pure मतलब reactivity इतनी ज़्यादा है कि वो किसी भी चीज़ के साथ react कर लेते हैं, and that is the reason why as you will move below, they are not found in the pure nature. The next property is that the compounds of the S block element, with the exception of those of lithium and beryllium, are predominantly ionic. Means जो S block elements के compounds होंगे, except lithium and beryllium, all other compounds that will be formed by the S block element, they are ionic compound. मतलब वो सारे के सारे ionic होंगे. They will be ionic in nature. Moving ahead, we have the P block element. Now, the P block elements comprise those belonging to group 13 to 18. Now, what are those P block elements? I'll show you. What are those P block elements? You see, the P block elements, they are those elements which are present from group number 13 to group number 18. These elements, they come under your P block elements, mainly the boron group to your neon group. Means boron group to the noble gas group, they all come under the P block elements. They are the P block elements. Now, why they are known as the P block element? Because the last electron in them, it comes in the p orbital. Now you'll not understand this, I understand. So you just remember that these elements from group number 13 to group number 18, they are known as the P block element, and they are called the representative element or the main group elements. Means this P block element, they are from group number 13 to group number 18, and these elements, the elements of P block and the elements of S block, they are together, they are known as the representative element or the main group elements, because they form major part of the periodic table. Now their property, the outermost electronic configuration, it is from Ns to Np1 to Np6 in each period. At the end of each period, we have a noble gas element with a closed valency, which is Ns2 and Np6 configuration. All the orbitals in the valence shell of the noble gas, they are completely filled by electron, and this is very difficult to alter the stable arrangement by the addition of or the removal of electrons. The noble gas, they have very low chemical reactivity. Preceding the noble gas, we have the halogen family. Two important groups, they are the halogens and the chalcogens. This chalcogens means the oxygen group, and halogen means the fluorine group. They are the two important groups of non-metals, and they are highly reactive elements. These groups elements are very highly reactive. The last one is these two group elements have high reactive negative electron gain enthalpies and readily add one or two electron respectively to attain the stable noble gas configuration. The non-metallic character increases as we move from left to right across a period, and metallic character increases as we go down the group. That is known to you. Means if we are moving from left to right in this way, if we are moving from left to right, then what happens? The non-metallic character increases. The non-metallic character increases. But if we are moving from top to bottom, the metallic character increases. The metallic character will increase from top to bottom. So these were the properties of the periodic table. Now we have another block of element, that is the d block element. Now what is the d block element? Element in which the d orbitals are completely filled. They are called the d block elements. They have the general properties. This is their electronic configuration. We'll study this in chapter 2. I have been repeating this one. I'm repeating again and again that we are going to study this one in chapter 2. At this moment, you just remember that there the last electron will come in the d orbital. Now what are the properties of these elements? They show catalytic property. Means these elements, they are generally used as catalysts. They are generally used as the catalyst. They form colored ions. Means इस group के जितने भी elements होंगे वो सारे के सारे colored ions बनाते हैं. They have a color. Next they have paramagnetic properties. Another one, they can form huge compounds, complexes form कर सकते हैं. And they are often referred to as transition metal as they are placed between metals and non-metals. मतलब जो D block elements हैं, I'll show you which are the D block elements. I'll show you which are the D block elements. You look here. Here, D block elements start from here to here. Means from scandium to zinc. This is your D block element. They are known as the D block element. Now, why they are known as transition element? क्योंकि देखो, they are pure metals. These elements, they are pure metals, and these elements, they are transforming to non-metal. They are transforming to non-metal. तो ये देखो, they are in between metals and non-metals. So that is why they are known as transition elements. They are termed as transition elements. Now this is all I have shown you. This is the p block element, and we were at the d block element where I told you that they are often referred as transition element because they are placed between metals and non-metals, and also due to their characteristic feature. The last block is your f block element in which the f orbital is completely filled. They are known as the f block elements. General electronic configuration is of this type. Inner transition metals are also known as F block element. Just as D block element were known as transition element, the F block elements are known as the inner transition metals. They have incomplete d orbital configuration in their normal state and in their oxidation state. They are generally radioactive. मतलब ये जितने elements होते हैं, they are radioactive. They continuously release radiations. They are releasing radiations. Okay, like radium, thorium, uranium. These are there. Now, trends in the physical properties. Now, what are these physical properties and how do they change in the periodic table? I'm going to tell you this one here. It's a very short chapter, so I'm going to give a one shot video. Means in this one chapter, in this one video, I'll be completing the whole chapter. Since it is theoretical, if you want to increase your understanding, you can read the chapter again and again, and then you can understand it. These are the physical properties. Now, what are the physical properties? The first one is your atomic radius. Next one is your ionization enthalpy, electronegativity, oxidation states, and the chemical reactivity. Now I am going to explain about these 5 properties and how these 5 properties are altered or changed or affected while moving from left to right or top to bottom in the periodic table. I am going to explain this to you now in the coming slides. Let's see. The first is your atomic radius. Now atomic radius, it means the size of the element. Means when we are going to move from left to right, when we are going to move from left to right or top to bottom, what will happen with the atomic radius that we are going to learn now. So let's see. The atomic size, it generally decreases across a period. Now, atomic size generally decreases across a period. It means that when we are moving from left to right, when we are moving from left to right in a periodic table, it generally decreases. The size will decrease. Why? Because the effective nuclear charge increases as the atomic number increases. Now, we can very well imagine that finding the size of an atom, it's very complicated than measuring the radius of a ball. Like if you have a ball, in your hand, you can measure the radius easily. यहाँ से यहाँ तक कितना है diameter, तो फिर हम radius निकाल लेंगे. But for measuring the radius of an atom, it is because it is very small, so you cannot measure it very easily. Secondly, the electron cloud surrounding the atom, it does not have a sharp boundary. So the determination of atomic size, it cannot be precise, it cannot be perfect. So there is no practical way in which we can determine the size of an electron. We can only do an estimate of them. So that estimate and that atomic radius, it refers to the covalent or the metallic radius, which is dependent on whether the element is metal or non-metal, and this is measured by X-ray or other methods. मतलब लाइट इरेडिएट करके हम मेजर करते हैं कि किसी भी एटम का साइज कितना है, व्हाट इज द एटॉमिक रेडियस हियर. नाउ द within a family or a vertical column of the periodic table, the atomic radius generally increases with the atomic number, as I'll show you now. The result is increased attraction between the nucleus and the electron. Now, how it happens, you see. Atomic radius decreases from left to right as the principal quantum number increases. This principal quantum number, again, you will not understand. Just you think that the atomic radius, it will increase from left to right. It will increase from left to right as the principal quantum number will increase. Now, it also increases down a group as the number of cells increase. These all things you already know, but now the explanation is that how it increases, you see. This is a graph where it was drawn that as the size is increasing, you see, means as the atomic number is increasing, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, fluorine, you see the size is decreasing. The graph is going down. Now, what is the reason, you see? We know that as the element will be moving in the period, the size of the mm, the size of the atom that will increase. The size of the atom, sorry, this not the size, the nucleus of the atom. Suppose this is for beryllium, this is for boron, this is for carbon, this is for nitrogen, this is for oxygen, and this is for fluorine. Now these are the size of the nucleus. Okay, these are the size of nucleus. Then what we know that nucleus is positively charged. They are positively charged. So all the nucleus, whatever the nucleus is there, they will be positively charged. Now we know that the positively charged, they attract the electrons toward themselves. They attract the electron. So here when the positive charge is less, the attraction will be less. Similarly, as we are moving from left to right, the magnitude of the positive charge is increasing. तो पॉजिटिव चार्ज जितना ज्यादा होगा, अट्रैक्शन उतना ज्यादा होगा. Then in that case, the size of the atom, it decreases. The size of the atom decreases when we move from left to right. The size of the atom increases as we move from left to right, you see. Now here, uh, you see, this one atomic radius. Okay, now here the atomic radius, it will decrease as we move from left to right in the periodic table. Now next comes your ionization enthalpy. Now what is ionization enthalpy? This enthalpy, it means energy. Now ionization enthalpy means the energy required to remove an electron. मतलब किसी भी atom को, if we are to convert an atom to an ion, then we have to remove an electron. Then what is the ionization enthalpy trend, you see? A quantitative measure of the tendency of an element to lose electron is given by its ionization enthalpy. It represents the energy required to remove an electron from a gaseous atom. Means the electron which we are removing, that will be removed only from the gaseous system, gaseous atom. In other words, the ionization enthalpy of an element X is the enthalpy change for the reaction. This one electron we have to remove. The ionization enthalpy, it is generally represented in terms of kilojoule per mole, and Similarly, if second ionization, then we have to remove two electrons. If first ionization, we have to remove first electron. If there is third ionization, then we have to remove three electrons. Now, energy is always required to remove electron from an atom, and hence ionization enthalpies are always positive. Now, the second ionization enthalpy will be higher than the first ionization enthalpy because it is more difficult to remove an electron from a positively charged ion than from a neutral atom. In the same way, the third ionization enthalpy will be higher. Suppose देखो क्या बोला है यहाँ पर. If you have a neutral atom, if you have a neutral atom, and there you have one, suppose some three electrons are present in here. Suppose some three electrons are present. This is your first electron, this is your second electron, this is your third electron. This nucleus, this is positively charged, it was pulling these three electrons towards it. Now you have given some energy and one electron has gone out. Now this, if one electron is moving out, that is known as your first ionization enthalpy. First ionization enthalpy. That is your first ionization enthalpy. Now, what is said that the energy required to remove the second electron, that will be more. Why? Because देखो पहले ये न्यूक्लियस तीन इलेक्ट्रॉन्स को अपने तरफ खींच रहा था, बट अब क्या करना है उसको, ओनली टू इलेक्ट्रॉन्स इट हैज टू पुल, मींस इट कैन पुल इट विथ मोर फोर्स. सो दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई सेकंड वन इज मोर हायर. नाउ और ज्यादा दिए एंड दिस वन इज आल्सो गन, then the third ionization enthalpy is further higher for them. Now this ionization enthalpy, this ionization enthalpy, as we will move from left to right, as we will move from left to right, the ionization enthalpy will increase, but when we will move from top to bottom, it will decrease. The ionization enthalpy decreases from top to bottom. Next is your shielding effect. Now what is the shielding effect? You just see, in the multi-electron atoms, the electrons are present in the outermost shell and they do not experience a full positive charge, hence they are shielded or screened away from the nucleus. Like in the same subcell, you omit this part. Now we'll be learning this one in chapter number 2. Now electronegativity. Now this is the most important thing for any atom where metal and non-metals are there, where I have used a GIF. You see where this boy is throwing a ball and that ball represents, suppose, an electron. Then what is electronegativity? A qualitative measure of the ability of an atom in a chemical compound to attract electrons towards itself, that is called electronegativity. Means if an atom is able to pull electron towards itself, then we say that that atom is electronegative in nature. Fluorine has the highest electronegativity of 4, and this is measured in terms of Pauling's scale. This is measured in terms of Pauling's scale. This is beyond your scope now, but since the value was written, so I am telling you this is measured with the help of Pauling's scale. Now, fluorine has the highest electronegativity of all the elements which are present in the periodic table. Fluorine has the highest electronegativity. Next, it is the most electronegative element that I said. Now, this electronegativity, the non-metallic elements have stronger tendency to gain electrons. Therefore, electronegativity is directly related to that non-metallic property of the element. Means कोई भी element जितना ज़्यादा non-metallic होगा उसका electronegativity उतनी ज़्यादा होगी. It can be further extended to say that electronegativity is inversely related to the metallic property of the element. मतलब जितना ज़्यादा metal उतना ही कम electronegative. Thus, the increase in electronegativity across a period is accompanied by increase in the non-metallic property. Then in short, what we can say is that if we are moving from left to right in a periodic table, if you are moving in this way, the electronegativity will increase, and if you are moving from top to bottom, it will decrease. The electronegativity will decrease. Similarly, decrease in the electronegativity down a group is accompanied by a decrease in the non-metallic property because the non-metallic property increases. Now, last one is your oxidation state. Now, what are these oxidation states? The valence equal to the numbers of electrons present in the outermost shell. That is known as the oxidation state, which is normally you know it as the valency or the charge. The term oxidation state is interchangeably means valence. Fluorine has the oxidation state of -1, but in compounds like OF2, it exhibits +2 oxidation state, and you know how to calculate the oxidation state from the chapter redox reaction. Oxidation state determines the oxidation number of the element. This is the summary of the chapter. Now here you can see that what happens with different properties, what happens with different things in the periodic table, how they are increasing, how they are decreasing in a periodic table, that you can see it clearly here. If you are moving from right to left, your ionization enthalpy is increasing. Why? Because the size will decrease, and when the size will decrease, your electron will be more effectively pulled by the nucleus. So that is why your ionization enthalpy increases. Similarly, the electron gain enthalpy increases. This way the atomic radius increases. This way the electronegativity increases. If you are moving from top to bottom, the electronegativity will decrease. Here, if you are going in this way, the atomic radius will increase. If you are going in this way, the electronegativity will increase. If you are moving from bottom to top, then your ionization enthalpy will increase, then electron gain enthalpy will increase. In this case, the metallic character, if you are moving this way, the non-metallic character will increase. If you are moving this way, the metallic character will increase. Means, in short, this small figure, it depicts all the properties of the periodic table, whatever I have told you or whatever you have learned till date. Means, from your class 10 level, from your 11th level, means whatever through this video you have come to learn. This is the summary of the complete chapter here, and that's it. That is the only thing which is included here in this chapter. And now, with this, I just end this chapter here, and I thank you all for watching the video up to here, and have a good day.